Good day, dear readers, viewers, watchers, and listeners. I pray all is well out there. We will continue at this time in the book entitled The Sacraments of Eternity. Let us continue. Let us resume play. Let us begin. Still in the chapter, blood is red. Meanwhile, Devarius was sleeping. He saw a dream. An old woman brought a bowl of water for a dog. The dog didn't want to come close to it. Finally, it came in and turned the bowl over. Instead of water, the bowl was filled with blood. The dog was watching the blood flowing. Devarius felt that it was looking at him. It was staring at him as if telling, "Don't drink whatever is given to you. It is a warning. If so, there must be some evil deed against me. Therefore, I may be sure they are engaged in the case of the death of Jesus." Water was pure, but the blood was red. Much blood in the bowl, which means Sindrian is saturated with evil and cruelty up to its brinks. They treat me like a dog, but who is the old woman in black? My God, it is death. Why did death warn me and not someone else? Does it want me to lock up all of Sindrian? Oh, enough. The dream is just a dream, and I need to work. I have never experienced something like this before. I am surrounded by evil and filth, but I've got a fact under me. If Jesus were not God, it wouldn't have happened. This is the logic of the mind. I'm eager to meet Jesus. Devarius entered the chamber. Members of the assembly were loudly arguing. They seemed not to pay any attention to Devarius. Calm down. Let's work. Many of you know Cornelius, the centurion. I must see him immediately. Meanwhile, I would like to hear your opinion on the case of an investigation. What can you tell me? Dear investigator, we have been just arguing about it. What did you come to? We feel you don't believe us and try to diminish our position. The first one is true, and the second is a mistake. I want to find out the truth and not to humiliate you. However, when I find out, I may choose what you are talking about. My vision is, if Jerusalem condemned God, I, as a representative of the Roman authorities, have the right to condemn only a few people engaged. I have rules. They were set up not by me, but by people definitely smarter than you. I don't humiliate you. I don't want to. Please, get me right. If you are innocent, you have nothing to worry about. I hope you follow my logic. You have to admit it. We can admit, but not everything. We think of you as of the person who belongs to the pagandom. You worship idols. I belong to it. However, now I've changed my thought and my behavior. I saw the unfathomable. I mean that he, Jesus is unfathomable for me as I am for him, and for all passed away. So far, it is just my recollections. I need facts. If I find any one of you, guilty, you will be punished, not just humiliated. The punishment not for the death of God, but for hiding the fact that he exists. I hope you agree with me. Anyway, this is me who is investigating this case. Thus, don't interfere. If you don't like me, well, complain about it to Rome. I will still insist on my own. Mind it. Now, you may go. I need to visit Bethany and Jericho. Do you need an escort? No, I'll be fine. Well, Devarius, you know best. Devarius went out of the assembly. He was walking along the streets of Jerusalem. He wasn't watching around. What am I doing? Where am I going? I'm walking as an idler. Devarius stopped in the middle of the street. It was very crowded. He asked one of the passer-by's people, "Tell me, where is Cornelius, the centurion? Where does he live?" The stranger smiled. "Why do you ask? You are just at the door of his house." Devarius blushed. "I am sorry. You must have drunken too much wine." Yes, thank you. If you, a stranger, drink what I drink investigating this case, you would already die," thought Devarius. The door was closed. Devarius entered the dwelling. "Hello? Is somebody at home?" "Yes, I am. I'm sorry I didn't knock. I need Cornelius, the centurion." "This is me." Hello. You must be the investigator from Rome." "Yes. How do you know that?" "Your dress tells me much." "Tell me, Cornelius, may I be honest with you? Not as an investigator, but as a human talking to a human." "If you have good intentions, then why not?" "My name is Devarius, and I am investigating the case." I know. As a human, I want to reveal the real truth and to understand what happened here. Moreover, how it all happened. You know, Devarius, I'm packed to go for a bit of hunting. Would you like to join me? It will be easier to converse. I'd love to. I need to relax a bit anyway. Well, good for you. I have horses and a good dog. It helps me hunting. Tell me, Cornelius, can we visit Bethany and Jericho on the way? Sure, Devarius. Well, let's go then. No, Devarius, first, take my clothes, because being dressed as you are, Devarius looked at himself. You'll be like Cornelius. I got it. And I am glad that we understand each other without words. Devarius, I see a human just by looking at his or her eyes. I've seen so many people in my life. Cornelius, I agree with you. I want you to tell me everything about the one you've seen. Do you mean Jesus Christ? Exactly, Cornelius. I saw him too, but I didn't manage to get to talk to him. Our meeting happened very unexpectedly. Cornelius smiled. Various meetings with him lately have become a real surprise. Well, let's go. We'll discuss it all. 2 horsemen were riding towards Bethany. A dog was running ahead of them. They looked like real hunters. However, they were people searching for the truth among those who talked to Jesus and those who condemned him, crucified him, and exposed him to the worst humiliation and the most gruesome death. God's pain was flying around earth. The horsemen could not see it, but they could feel it in their hearts and in their thoughts. Lord Jesus was with them. He wouldn't get in the way of anything they were doing, but only helped them and made their journey safe. Cornelius, tell me, how long have you known Jesus? A long time, Devarius. I'm not denying him, for I met him and spoke to him like I'm speaking with you now. Have you believed in him as God since you've met him? Not as God, Devarius, no. You should know that God used what he used to be before us as God since you've met him. Not as God, Devarius, no. An idol and nothing else. It's made of bronze, though. Whereas then I met a live person doing non-ordinary things. Did you see any miracles? Of course I did. And not once. Was it exciting? Even more than that, I would witness people being reborn, or if I may put it this way, as if something unclean would be displaced and then filled with new strength. It was obvious even to very simple people. Do you think it was the miracles that made people recognize him as God? Not only that, he was a very literate and smart man, and it once occurred to me that he was living in the wrong era. What do you mean, Cornelius? I mean, had he been born sometime later, a few centuries ahead, things would have been different for him, or possibly worse. Who knows what lies ahead of us? As for me, I am happy. He has resurrected and appears before us like from a fairy tale. Your way of thinking is quite interesting, Cornelius. I feel easy talking to you about him. Cindrian is trying to hide something from me, though. Devarius, an honest worker, will always be open and sincere. Those who feast by taking bread from others, being dishonest to fair workers, are full of trouble. I believe you know what I'm talking about. I know, Cornelius. Therefore, I'm watching out for the assembly, and I'm looking for people like you. I can tell, Cornelius, there's nothing you're hiding from me. That's very pleasing and also refreshing. I spoke to Jesus' mother, and it occurred to me immediately that she is the one I can completely trust. She's the kind of woman incapable of lying. I haven't talked to Herod and Pilate, and I'm curious to hear them with their tongues out. Devarius, they are extremely spoilt with their privileges, although they've changed lately. Devarius wanted to make sure. Have they changed, or are they pretending? They have. After Jesus was crucified, they changed. Cornelius, were they involved in Jesus' death? It's tough. They could have changed the course of events, though. The thing is that Cindrian was very aggressive towards Jesus. There's hardly any conclusion that can be made here. As I see it, all the people are to blame, for they did not recognize him as God and crucified him like a thug. Devarius, I really don't feel like going back to that day. It seems that the most terrible thing that could have ever happened in the world. Cornelius, let's stop and have some rest. I'm pretty tired and my head is full of thoughts. It's been nothing but my thoughts lately. All right, let's sit down. It's a lovely place. I'll have a bit of wine. Cornelius, I don't mind having some to take my tiredness away. Cornelius took a sip of wine and looked at Devarius. He was sitting deep in his thoughts. Devarius, what is it? It's nothing. I just thought I saw something. Can you tell me what you thought you saw? Didn't you see it? I did not. It was me then. I thought I saw an old lady passing by. Cornelius looked around. There's no one around. Never mind, Cornelius. Cornelius's dog came up to Devarius and stared him in the eyes of God. That's it. It's my nightmare flying around me. No way, Cornelius can't have me poisoned. We were drinking wine from the same bottle, and we were eating the same piece of fish. Why is this dog giving me that imploring glance? He looked like he's trying to tell me something. What can a dog do? Devarius, what is it, Cornelius? What's going on with you? It's okay, the wine got to me. Cornelius laughed. You've hardly had any. I'm still drained. I don't normally drink. Feels like the investigator will make me a drinker. Get up. Let's move. Bethany is just a few miles away. You know, Cornelius, our life is quite an interesting thing, if I may call it so. It's also very intricate and sometimes odd. I should also add that. Yes, you're right. Very right, Cornelius. I'd like to ask you not to mention to anyone in Bethany that I'm an investigator. I won't either. I like to talk to people like an ordinary person. I agree. They were moving along the streets of Bethany. Cornelius, let's make a stop right here. Where exactly? Right there in the crowd. They tied their horses up and mixed with the crowd. Devarius was listening closely to everyone's conversations. He was expecting someone to mention Jesus at once, but no one would talk about him. 4 old men were standing aside arguing. Devarius approached them. I apologize, the honorable ones, for interrupting your conversation. What do you want? I hope you could help me. Help with what?
I'm reminding you. Paul.
Have you heard of Jesus of Nazareth? Yes, we have. Could you tell me where I could find him? The old men looked at Devarius in astonishment. It isn't hard to do. All 4 of them raised their hands to the sky. The most honorable ones, I didn't quite get it. What is there? He's been crucified by the priest. But I heard he resurrected. We heard that too, but we've never seen him. Did you see him before the crucifixion? We did, and not once. You should have seen the miracles he was doing. Is it true what they say he raised one from the dead here in Bethany? Of course it is. He raised Lazarus from the dead right in front of us. And you didn't get scared? You wish. We were running so fast that not a single youngster could have outrun us. Devarius grinned. I understand. Why don't you don't see this happening too often? Why are you interrogating us about Jesus anyway? Out of mere curiosity. I believe there were very few people on earth like Jesus. What was, what we believe is he was the only one. Sure, some are trying to mimic him, but those are just quacks, and he was the true God. Well, lords, thank you. Cornelius, I don't need any other proof. Let's go back to Jerusalem. What about Jericho? No, Cornelius, I've decided we should go back to Jerusalem. So be it. See, Cornelius, I should speak with Herod and Pilate as soon as possible. Antipas, Pontius, I wasn't expecting you. Dress up. It's our turn now. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the investigator who wants to see us. Pontius, I was in such a good mood since the morning, and now you've just ruined it. Should I go back to him then and tell him he should wait until you're back in a better mood? It's not what I meant. Come on, Antipas, we can't escape it. We sure can't, Pontius. Antipas, you should watch yourself and restrain from saying things. Hello. I've arrived from Rome. My name is Devarius. I'm Pontius. I'm Antipas. Do you know why Yes, we know everything. Have a seat then, and let's have first things first. Do you find yourself guilty of Jesus' death? I do. No, we don't. I didn't quite get it. Do you or do you not? Antipas, calm down. Yes, we do find ourselves guilty of God's death. Devarius stared at them. There you go. Even you're saying he is God. Of course, for he was helping us. Turns out you thanked him afterwards, didn't you? You know what I think? The most blame here is on... Devarius took a pause. Antipas broke down. It wasn't me. I never said that. What I think is then Cindrian is more involved than you are. Of course, it's Cindrian's fault, Antipas shouted. But you just said you were the ones to blame. See, Devarius, we could have interfered, but found ourselves powerless, for the assembly had bribed a lot of people. It was our unfair law and the tradition of injustice that played the key role. Therefore, it was not a thug, but God who got crucified. We find ourselves guilty of our weakness. You are the kings, so you don't have to answer, but I would really like to hear from you if Jesus truly was not an ordinary human being. You know, Devarius, if it were any different, we wouldn't be standing here answering your questions. We're terrified, even thinking about that Friday when all went dark and everything was rattling. I see. Was it specifically that day when you realized he was God? Basically it was, although we had known there was something unearthly about him. Then there was that moon going down near Jerusalem. Did you see the moon? Yes, I did, Pontius said. Was it the moon that shines at night? No, not that one. That one remained in the sky. Whoa, I don't get it. Do we have two moons then? I can hardly explain anything. Tell me, before the verdict, was Jesus pleading, begging any one of you to not execute him? Was he even crying? No, we never heard anything like that coming from him. But those eyes he had, we're terrified thinking about them now. It was not only God, but a man with a powerful soul and will. Why was? Yes, Devarius, you're right, as we met him after the crucifixion. Who took Jesus' body down from the cross and buried him? Joseph of Arimathea. Can I meet him? Of course you can. Send your servants for him then. Will do. Dear Antipas and Pontius, when I'm done with the investigation, I will have to take you with me to Rome, whether you're guilty or not. Though, wait, no, there's only one thing you're guilty of is hiding everything from the top government. We don't mind facing the government, the sooner the better, for we will have peace then. It depends. You're free for today. Have them bring Joseph to me tomorrow, and you should come too, of course. Antipas. What is it, Pontius? You see, the investigator is not that scary. I wonder where they're for us in Rome. We shouldn't be expecting a feast, by no means, Pontius. A king is a king, and they don't separate the poor from God for execution. They are all equal to them, for he is king. He's a human, on the other hand, and should be able to tell who is who. This is what Darius was thinking. Of all who I interrogated, I only feel close to Jesus' mother and Colonel Cornelius. They're honest with me. Not only do I feel easy talking to them, but even standing next to them. I'll see what Joseph is like. He took part in the burial, and he was holding Jesus' body in his arms. He took him off the cross. It says a lot. Time sure flies by, and it's already midnight. I'll have a rest now. Dear readers, we will pause and we will stop there, and we will resume play yet another day, another time, in the book entitled The Sacraments of Eternity. Until next time, take care, God bless, and thank you.